little pastime, right? Especially when I get trapped in and I've got a bit more time on my hands than I usually have at the minute, right? What I like to do is, I think I've showed you, is mess about with kits. You know what I mean? Looks a bit bigger now, but I got toiletries kit for Christmas, and I'm always looking at tins and stuff, right? This is not what, but it's just, thinking about making the ultimate tin, right? The ultimate tin, right? But then I was lying in bed the other day with the wife, or the other night with the wife, and she was asking me, she says, have I ever done a kit, right? Coming from somebody who just doesn't know anything, a bit like the wife, right? Well, how it came around was she asked me, hang on, excuse me, sorry, she asked me if I would make a Bear Grylls kit, right? I've only ever seen one episode of Bear Grylls Island, and I didn't watch that all the way through. I walked off. I don't watch things like that. I just don't watch things like that, right? So it got me thinking. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So that's the little next project type thing that I'm working on, right? So I'm a great believer in having levels of kit. You'd have something in your pockets. You might have something on a belt, and then you might have something on a bag, right? Now the belt kit doesn't mean like a full-on weapon belt kit. It's just something a bit bigger than a pocket kit, right? These little shoulder bags are quite popular. It's about the same size as one of those, you know, the canteen things that you get. It's one of those type sizes, right? And I just thought, well, it's not too big, is it? You know, it's not too big. Not too expensive. You can pick them up cheap, less than a tenner. That's what I do. Buy cheap as I can. It's just to hold stuff in and get you through. It's like one-shot stuff, survival stuff to me. You know what I mean? It's to get you through, not just use once, but to get you through that situation until something happens. Something changes, you can get out. So I thought, rather than just go on your normal sized tins or your tobacco tin sizes, make it sensible, make it usable. So I thought, as an instruction type pocket kit, this is what I'd come up with. Now, before you go anywhere, just my point of view, before you start buying your carry system, your bits and bobs, there's something that we need to get, and that is a bit of information, a bit of general knowledge, right? A couple of books here, right, of which I absolutely swear by. Just happens I won this one in a giveaway, right? I think it's the latest, but I hope it is, because I've forgotten the other one, but I think it's the up-to-date version of I call this the Bible. I've always called it my Bible, right? This is the one I carry about, so however long ago that was, it's probably a date on the back, but that was a second version, so I think they're a brilliant book. Not just, you know, for survival guide. There's a little morale boost, you know, if you're sitting there, you know, waiting to be rescued, you can flick through this and takes your mind off the situation, and not only you're gaining a little bit. But so what I thought I'd come up with is I'll try to make a kit coming from somebody who doesn't know a single thing. What would be the first thing that I would get? Well, the first thing I would get is, like I say, is some knowledge. And again, I got this box. It was in a gift thing that my wife got me, so I tried to rotate stuff like that in. But just in a little dry, tough box. I've got a version of that. Now, I don't know how long this is out of date, but I've got a little Collins Gems first aid kit in there. Now, my theory being is, if it worked then, there's no reason why it shouldn't work now. So, get yourself a bit of knowledge. Just don't want to get it separated. So first item, before you start even thinking about making a kit, is get yourself clued up at least a little bit, so you're not going out there blind, as it were. Right, so I've got a couple of books there. I've got a little tough box, just because I had one. Like I say, I actually do carry this. I do carry it, right? To tell you the truth, it goes in me. There's a little bag I take when I just go out for days and stuff, but that'll go in. That's just not even a Ziploc bag, it's just a thick polythene bag. I just roll it over a few times on the top there like that. Good old elastic band, and that should be splash proof, but it should go into another waterproof covering, like in your bag or whatever, right? But that's, I do carry it. I do practice what I preach. You just can't fault this book. You just can't fault it. You'd be surprised what's in there. It is interesting. No matter how long you've had it, it's always interesting. It's a good point of reference. And first aid, first aid, just first things first, first aid, first on the list. So, in my little kit, should we say this is a starter kit? Or the instruction manual. So in there, simply, little first aid manual, little pocket first aid manual. With the Bible, with a good little general knowledge book. Bit heavy, but I'd rather, if I didn't know anything, I'd rather have something like this than not. What I'd probably do is I'll probably go for something like that. Get the first aid on the top, and there's a couple of other little things I'm going to add to this, which would be a couple of Fresnel lenses. Eyes are going. Try and get a chem light or something in the top of there, but that would be my first suggestion on this little project thing I'm going to share with you. I'm going to come from 3 layers. I'm going to come from an instructionally type beginner's kit, of which I'm going to put in the information. There'll probably be a first aid kit in this bag, and then what I thought I might go for is one of those untouched, right? And there's a few things which should be, in my point of view, my way of thinking, is there's a couple of things that are, as any kit, that are just slightly lacking in this. So, set myself a little project, little challenge. It's got to be easily accessible, as in, you should be able to buy it without messing about with it too tough. Having a bit of an idea of what and what not to put into a tin. I'm going to come from the 3 layers, so I'm going to go from basic instructional type, beginning type kit, right? So that'll be level 1, right? I know it's a bit big, but it does. You could get it on a belt, and you can wear it as a shoulder bag, right? And then like a belt kit, like a bigger type kit, which will probably be a size like that, which is the old school British Army gas mask bags, right? So something like that in your belt, something like that over your shoulder, and I might go for that 30 litre clamshell backpack, right? But first things first, let's get the first job done. Gonna make a survival kit for somebody coming from green as grass, hasn't done anything before. What I would strongly suggest is get yourself at least clued up a little bit of information. First aid, standard, just goes a long way. And then a little bit of know-how. And as a point of reference guide or a beginner's instructional, you'd be surprised what's in that book. It's a good read no matter where you are, if you want my opinion. So that's going to be the first thing in. And it just so happens that that box does. It fits nicely in the front there, in that front pouch. But I make my own first aid kits generally, so I might buy a first aid kit along those type of lines. But the first aid kit would go in there at the same time as that. So that first aid kit would either go in the front there, or I showed you that's one of those polymath kits. That could go in there. We could get the information that we need. Down in the front of there, with a little bit room left over. That's more or less what it's going to be. I've got a bit of add-on space at the top there, and I might put pouches down the side. For instance, a cover element, so it's not going to get too big, too large, too quick. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. So, first things first. Bit of information, bit of general knowledge on how to get by, at the very least. Should always have a first aid kit. Just goes without saying. Something to put it in. Okay. That's my little project which I'm going to be sharing with you. A couple of other little things. Sad, isn't it? It's like my ultimate kit. I wouldn't put that in my bag, but keep it all together. I might go through that just as a little tongue-in-cheek thing. Go through that for you. It's just the stuff that I got just previous to Christmas. Like I say, you always get socks and smellies, handkerchiefs for Christmas. Use up the tins from your Christmas presents. It's not that too big, you know what I mean, if you think about it. But I might go through that. But because that is just a little, it's just a tin that I put, just sitting half an hour, wasting a bit of time. So that's my next little project thing that I'll probably share with you. A couple of books. I won that from Andy Outdoors. Thank you, Andy. That's mine from a while ago. That goes in a bag. Most definitely, it's not what you got, it's what you know, right? Sometimes, a lot of times, it's not what you've got, it's what you know. A little bit of knowledge goes a long, long, long way. Long way. And nobody's an expert. Absolutely nobody's an expert. There's always something to learn. Always something that you might see. Even the right down basics. You might think, oh, do you know what? I don't do it like that. I'll try that. So, a little kit. And each level's got to be standalone. It's not like I've got to have this kit to make that kit work. right? Doesn't work like that. You've got to have your basic needs covered in here. So, not necessarily in the order of packing. I would probably go for books. Probably go in there, I think. If not in the front, doesn't really matter. Followed by a first aid kit. Okay, so that's my little game or project. Like I say, I'm going to try to keep it all real, keep it all sensible. Things that people can easily get, you know, easily be required from eBay, Amazon, you know, something just easily got at, and very little fettling, as in my idea on kits. Although, if I put one of these in, I've definitely got to put some stuff in, which I think is kit misses, which isn't a lot, right? But just from my point of view, check the price on these. You know, if you're happy to pay it for what you get, that's okay. It doesn't have to be the things that I've got. It doesn't. It's just, this is what I've got to hand at the minute. Got one or two things as swaps and copies. Might as well utilise them, put them in a kit. And I'm going to come from somebody who doesn't know anything. At least get them by. You know, at least get them by. So that's going to be my next little project, little layer one, bit of information, general kit, right? Again, I know I keep showing these, but there's plenty of instructions in there of exactly what's in there and what to use it. So if you've got something like that, like an aid, an education aid, you know what I mean? I think you probably grab the basics from this. So that's where I'm going to come from. And next time you see this, what I'll do is I'll decide what bits of kit I'm going to put in it. Show you all dry weight if you like, you know, right? This is what I've got for the bag. This is the first aid kit I've got. This is the kit that I've bought. This is the kit that I've added. You know, it's got to have some sort of shelter on it. So, see how I get on with that. And little projects like these are not only good for yourself, for your mind, but then it gives you a perspective to stand back from. Well, you know, if you went into a room and there's a table full of survival kit, somebody with half an idea would go and grab certain things, wouldn't they? Somebody else who didn't have a clue might come in and just, right, well, I'll take that, that looks good. So, and everybody's learning, we're always on a learning curve, aren't we? You know, better ourselves or ditching out bad habits or whatever. So, no such thing as a silly question, If you need to know, you need to know. Knowledge is definitely key, man. I think in any situation, not just survivalist, getting on with it, bushcrafting. A bit of knowledge goes a long way. And I still carry it. I call it my Bible. That's my Bible, this book. I call it the Bible because there's not many situations that aren't in there. And first aid's just common sense, isn't it? First aid, get a good grip of it. Get a good grip of the basics. From the basics we can move on. But the basics, fire lighting, making shelter or whatever it is, the basics, there's no harm at all in drumming them over and over again about the basics. Because it's basics that keep you alive. That's the top and bottom of it. It's not fancy kit or, you know, electronic this and Bluetooth that doesn't keep you going. What keeps you going is the basics. And if you boil it down, if you boil all the peripheral naff stuff away, the human needs very little to keep going. So, waffling on a little bit, as I do. Little project coming up. At least step one, at least level one. little bag, big enough to get it all in, small enough not to be a hamper. Sorry. And most definitely, most definitely, get yourself clued up. I'm gonna have to start looking, see if there's a more up-to-date book on the first aid, because the you see CPR, it's changed, hasn't it? The ABC, it's changed. It's more reps, less breaths now, where it used to be so many reps to so many breaths. But like I say, if it worked back then, there's no reason why it shouldn't work now. They just tweak these little things, don't they? But there's a lot of first aid advice in there, but a couple of little books like that, especially this one. If you're going to buy one book, carry one book. Pretty much covered in there. But get clued up. Hope that one's alright for you, and somebody might gain a bit something out of it, coming from a kid for somebody who doesn't know anything, hasn't got anything. Okay?